on to Summoner's Rift we go. I will say, having a look at Patrick, he does have a really good win record on Sivir across the course of his career. This is all the games I can find on this handy little website. He has played 6 and has won 5 of them.
Wow.
83% win rate.
Damn.
But that does include the regional tournaments he played in as well.
So let's have a look at this level 1 very quickly before we talk more about the Sivir. XL cleared out that ward outside the Raptors. This suggests that Gragas wants to start on the top side of his map, and the reason why they put that ward down was because they were worried about a potential invade and they wanted information on what Caedrel does in the early game. They've restocked that ward so that they will be able to gain that information. Now Selfmade's actually going to move towards the bot side of the map. They're not going to know yet where the Olaf is starting. Olaf, of course, can start solo, which means that the Sivir can get into lane very early, get that early push going. Things can go quite comfortably. So interestingly about the Sivir, because we haven't seen her in such a long time, I think against a Varus, one of the things you've got to bear in mind is the massive range discrepancy between the two. Varus is one of the longest range AD carries in our game, whereas Sivir is actually very short. And this makes it very easy for the Varus to be able to get relatively easy trade backs. Things like the E are very easy to apply the effect and then slow and then go for those trades. And on top of that, you can also just keep stacking up those blights and get pretty favorable trades. The great thing about Sivir is her spell shield does mitigate that ultimate from the Varus, so it denies some of that later gank potential. She can also spell shield the Q from the Tahm Kench, which can also help keep the mana uptake. But overall, one of Sivir's greatest strengths is her ability to just shove in waves with her WQ combo. It can be quite mana intensive, but once she hits level 2, she can just keep the pressure up, and they can look for hooks and sort of like chip damages like you're seeing on your screen right now.
Especially when you don't have the thick skin as Tahm Kench, because you're only level 1, that sort of damage can stick pretty effectively. I just want to mention that Torre has played Thresh 2 times this year and has won both times on it. So this is across the entirety of the LEC 2020. Very high win rate support, very powerful support as well because of the safety it provides for the AD carry, the hook potential that you have. We'll see if Torre can bring those abilities to the fore in this game. Other lanes, let's have a look at how we're pushing. Special has got the priority in the mid lane right now. Nemesis is underneath the tower. But in top lane, Kryze is doing the opposite. He's farming under his tower as Bwipo has the advantage early on this gangplank.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit more about this mid lane matchup because we don't get to see Syndra a lot. She's usually banned. Yeah. And I think many people who've experienced her in solo queue can find that she's quite oppressive in lane. The range of her Q is about 800. Right? And that doesn't seem very long, but it's very obnoxious, right? And so Orianna, the thing that she has to decide when she's trading in lane is whether she uses her ball to harass or whether she uses it to clear minions. Now, in the early stages of the lane, her damage to minions is actually very low. You rely a lot on points in your W, so when she gets to about level 5, level 6, that's when she really starts to actually apply pressure and clearing waves, and that's when she can start getting much more aggressive against the Syndra. But until that point, Syndra can just keep harassing with the Q, and every time the Orianna tries to walk up an auto attack, you're just going to keep getting bullied. So that's kind of what we're seeing in a situation like this, where you just keep getting pushed around, you keep getting bullied, but know that as the Orianna gets a couple more levels under her belt, that's when she can actually start to be significantly more aggressive. You
can actually see that in Nemesis' skill order. I'm bringing this up quite early, but you can see he's put a couple of points in E early on because he's getting constantly harassed out in the lane, getting that shield. Of course, your passive, I believe it's Clockwork Wind-Up, gives you that little bit more damage on your auto attacks, so you can try and get the CS with that, but Nemesis is just trying to stay safe in this lane right now.
Yeah, and I do like the adaptation because many Oriannas will typically go Q-Max. Sometimes if you want more wave clear, you can put more points in your W. But if you're putting points in E, it's largely just for that extra bit of safety and damage mitigation. And you can see that Nemesis is having a bit of a rough time. He's at a pretty significant CS deficit in this early game. But the other thing he's taking into account is the fact that there is an Olaf jungle as well, who can show up at any time. We do see a bit of trading in the bot lane. I doubt it's going to amount to much, so I'm surprised that the exhaust did come out from Hylissang there. But yes.
I would have to watch a replay of it, but I'm pretty sure what Hylissang is trying to do is getting all 3 stacks
of the
I think you're right, tastiness, whatever his passive is.
Acquired taste.
Acquired taste, that's the one. Because he had one, and then just as it fell off and he placed the exhaust, he then autoed again. So he's looking for all 3, then he can devour, spit him back. But obviously it just didn't work out.
All right, so a little unfortunate there for Hillersang. The idea was promising, but the execution didn't quite come through. XL with a slight gold advantage right now, largely coming from the mid lane differential. And you can also see Nemesis prioritizing getting himself early magic resistance. So again, something that you often see when playing into Syndra lanes because of how oppressive that they can be. Yeah, once he gets a couple more levels under his belt, he should feel a little bit more comfortable to go for these trades. Now, Selfmade is looking for a gank. Special's level 6, though. He could one-shot Selfmade if he's not careful. So they've got to think about how they approach this play.
Kaidrill's going to know this is happening. His Razorbeak's getting stolen away. He gets pretty much all of them there, and Selfmade can't get anything out of his time. He's going to have to retreat back on his way to Gromp. There's a CS differential in the jungle as well. Olaf, of course, one of the fastest clearers early on because you go low and then your attack speed goes up. Makes it pretty easy for you to farm out the jungle. But we talked a little bit about, how this Orianna is going to be able to start to get pushed back in the lane, start to be a little bit more aggressive. Talk to me about what sort of the strategy is for these two teams. Like, are XL very happy just allowing this Syndra to get extra farm in the mid lane and trying just to scale up?
Well, I think both teams are quite comfortable when it comes to scaling.
Yeah.
The thing with the Varus that you typically expect is because of how lane dominant he can be, it's usually a lane that you want to try and play through. And over in the LPL, they're actually very famous for using their Varus Tahm Kench combo for setting up dives because of your ability to reset tower aggro, which is why I quite like this Sivir pick, because what we're seeing is the Varus can't get as much lane dominance as you typically expect. The push is constantly in the favor of Sivir, and look at that, every time you try to harass back, she just gets her mana back so she can just keep this pressure up. And so in terms of the CS difference, it's actually very even. So Fnatic haven't been able to play through bot lane. We haven't seen the Gragas make any gank. Well, I think we actually did see one attempt with the exhaust. Yes, yeah. But unfortunately that one did not pan out. And they also don't have prio in mid in these early levels. So in terms of the early game, Fnatic right now don't have a huge number of options. That doesn't mean that they're just going to fall off later. As we mentioned, they do have very strong wombo combo ability. But the thing that they have to be careful of is the fact that Vladimir and Sivir, once you get to the late game stages where there are about 3 items, that's where their team fighting power really comes online as well. So I feel Fnatic need to complete their first, second core major items, like Trinity Force on the Gangplank, maybe you want the Seraphs fully stacked and ready to go on the Orianna, and then you want to try and force a fight on that key single item power spike. Of course, that is when the Syndra is very scary, but the Sivir and the Vladimir won't be. They're looking at that kind of 3 item spike rather than just a 1 or 2. So I think there is a window where Fnatic can look to be very aggressive, and in that window is where we need to see them try and be proactive and look for these fights and plays.
The issue is, of course, if that Syndra is too powerful at that point. Like, if she can just one-shot someone, it's going to be a very difficult thing for you to do, and she does have a 30 CS lead now in the mid lane. So if you're not catching her out early on in the fight, you might struggle. You can see Fnatic going for an early swap here. Reckless is coming up towards Kaidrill. Now, Kaidrill will have the Ragnarok if he got caught with a Chain of Corruption, but I'm a little interested in this change, because usually it's the support that roams away, right, and teams up with the jungler. But here they've sent Reckless up, and Mickey actually, Hillersang, spent a long time holding that bot lane wave, and is only now working his way up. You can see Torre has joined Special, and the Lantern just adds that extra degree of safety that makes it quite hard for Fnatic to find a pick. They are going to start up the Rift Herald. Yeah,
Civid's just trading this for plates in the bot lane. It looks like XL, they're not going to risk contesting this, which I think is the smart play. Even though they can get priority in mid lane, they don't have prio top. The bot lane from Fnatic has rotated up. And great utilization of the Gangplank ultimate. Thank you, observers, for highlighting that as well, because it slows down the push from the Sivir, mitigates the number of plates the Sivir will actually be able to get, and now Fnatic can look to keep their duo up towards the top side, and they can probably look to trade towers, or XL can just swap back. So I think overall Fnatic is pretty happy, even though a small CS advantage has now been accrued in favor of Patrick, and he has hit level 7 as well.
Did get 2 plates off of that as well. He's now building up towards what I assume is an Essence Reaver on the Sivir with the BF Sword and the Caulfield's Warhammer. He also has a Cull stacking up, so he's about to finish that in about 30 CS. I'll just have more gold in his back pocket. XL, about 800 gold ahead right now, and in a pretty comfortable spot all round.
Yeah, I think that what we've seen from XL is that their early games haven't been super explosive over the weekend. They've kind of taken that slow style approach. And then where we've seen issues for them is when they get to the mid game and then a couple people get caught out, their execution isn't always on point. And so as Frost was saying on the analyst desk, often the idea is good, execution isn't always there. Now, of course, this is the very start of the split. We've already seen some split favorites falter. We've seen some surprising upstarts, and so that's why you can never really afford to count XL out, because it is still week one. You have some new players coming to play in the LEC and getting used to everything. So we'll see how XL progress from here. We can see a number of XL members rotating down towards the bot side. Of course, the Ocean Drake is up. This is going to be the big point of contention, and
Nemesis doesn't have TP. He doesn't have TP. The Rift Tower is going to come down, but XL, they want this fight. They're looking to fight when their Syndra is strongest. And Rippo eaten up by Hillisang. First kill is going to go across as Thresh goes down. Cries, though, with the Hemo play. Patrick trying to get the damage down, but he can't quite get it. Rippo falls, so has Torre. Rift Tower did get a charge in, managed to take down 3 plates, but ends up being a 1-for-1.
I like that XL were able to mitigate the tower going down, though. Not too many plates were lost off the back of that, and XL will still hold on to the gold lead, which means it's currently 1-1. But Fnatic in a 4 versus 5 were able to get a pretty good disengage there, and when we bring the replay up, we can see exactly how they were able to do it. So as you mentioned, Orianna still sitting in the mid lane. The teleport was not available. The Herald comes down, and then the engage comes through. Whippo is forced to flash out very quickly, but a really good Gragas ultimate and the consume from Hillisang keeps Gangplank alive for a very long time. I love the exhaust from Hillisang there as well to mitigate a lot of the damage that was coming out from Special, but while XL had the right idea, there was a big minion wave stopping Cries from getting involved in the fight. The damage that was largely sitting on top of the Syndra was heavily mitigated, and we can see the power of this Tahm Kench in a situation like that where XL, they just want to blow someone up, stop this push from happening and walk away with a kill, but because Tahm Kench was there, that was heavily mitigated, and XL don't get everything that they want.
I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen Special go for a full reset yet. He's sitting on about 1,500 gold on the Syndra right now, and it's one of those moments where if Fnatic had fought around this dragon, you would have wanted him to have that little bit extra gold. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for highlighting that. Selfmade is on a ward as he comes up here. You could think with the 2 control wards being in the river that he was safe to path here, but Cries will know that Selfmade is on his way, and Selfmade will realize that Cries probably knew that he was on his way. He backs away, he's going to take the Krugs, clears out a ward. Meanwhile, XL are playing down towards this bottom side. Torre with the hook, has the lantern. Kadra's going to come across the wall here as well. Hillisang, no flash, no exhaust, no real way out of this one. He's going to pop the thick skin underneath the turret, but it's just one more auto attack that's needed. Kadral lands the axe in the back of the catfish, and that's a new form of fishing, but it works out pretty well for XL.
Well played there from XL. This does, of course, mean that they'll be able to get some plates in the bot lane once that wave hits the tower, but Fnatic are doing the same in the top side regardless. Sitting with a healthy gold lead at the moment, but that might change. Is it Special? I think he's going to die.
Does have the unleashed power, but doesn't have a life.
Nope.
And you know how much gold he was sitting on when he died? Like 2k.
Yeah, that's 2K. Enough to secure the Loon's Echo. Planned.
Faster recall, guys. Only 25-second respawn time.
I mean, of course, he still has a pretty significant advantage over Nemesis. He is sitting at level 11. This is a very big item to have completed. But of course, this gives Fnatic an opportunity to push in that wave, maybe secure a plate or 2, which will be denied by a quick teleport coming in from Patrick as he upgrades to his Essence Revert. And remember what we were talking about, that item spike point where Fnatic have a window where they can probably look to fight. We're getting close to that. You can see the Trinity Force is now done for the Gangplank. He's about to hit level 11, so he'll have 2 points in his ultimate as well. And the Orianna, very close to completing that Archangel Staff. Likely won't be upgraded to the Saras for a little while longer, but in any case, a lot of these core itemizations are coming through for Fnatic, so they can think about looking for a fight. Right now, XL isn't insanely strong. You can see the Vladimir is still relatively weak, so there's a pretty big top lane discrepancy right now, and Syndra's really the only one you have to be very scared of, because Varus, by going for the lethality choice, you obviously have a lot more innate power that much earlier in the game, so you don't have to wait for your like 3rd or 4th core itemization to really turn online.
We'll see if Fnatic decide to on the side of caution, or if they take a fight. The Rift Tower is going to be up in about a minute's time, so they could decide to play on that top side of the map. We've still got 2.5 minutes on the Drake, but XL, the duo of Kadral and Torre, jungle support, something we see so often, decided not to actually kill that ward and left it on 1 HP. I guess Special can get it as he comes up through the tri
I mean,
bush.
it's not seeing anything anyway, right? It's,
Yeah, but you kill him. That's gold.
I mean, I agree. It's also a bit of experience too.
Oh, yeah. That is true. That is true.
Yep.
Can you remember the good old days when Nasus used to be able to Q wards and gain health? It was
Wait, doesn't that? You can't do that
doesn't work anymore, no.
I haven't played.
I still remember
Oh,
watching
this is so
Snoopy
long.
survive because he queued a ward in a game at some point, but no Nasus in this game. A little bit of a nostalgia trip for me there. Sorry, Benny, it's getting near the end of the night. I'm, sleepy time. But the Rift Herald will be secured by Fnatic. No fight's going to get taken here by XL. They don't have teleport on Special or Patrick, so they wouldn't have been able to join the fight anyway. And Selfmade will secure the Rift Herald for himself. He's having a pretty good game so far. 2-0-0. Got himself that Oblivion Orb and the Runic Echoes upgraded. Has the stopwatch in case he goes a little bit too deep at any point.
So I'd like to see Fnatic use this Herald in the mid lane. By breaking that tower, it opens up the map a lot more. And when playing against a Sivir, you want to try and, well, sieging that mid lane tower becomes a lot harder because, yeah, that's why. So by having the Rift Herald, it makes it a lot harder for Patrick to be able to stall things out. But with the mid lane tower gone, it gives you easier access into the enemy jungle, and you can start to utilize some of your, or really open up Whippo a little bit more, considering he is very strong at this point in time. With the Drake spawning in about a minute, that's where I expect to see Fnatic looking for a fight. Not only is it the third Drake of the game, but it is an opportunity for them to try and swing the momentum of this game back in their favor. Obviously, the gold is still very even, but we're kind of thinking forward. And if XL is even at this point in the game, they're sitting comfortably.
Yep.
Because I do think that with the Sivir and with the Vladimir, they will have stronger team fighting later on into the game. So we'll have to wait and see as Fnatic is grouping up.
Cadel is here, trying to get Hillisang. He will pop that thick skin. Ragnarok was used as well, though. Whippo forced off towards the top side of this fight. Special looking for some damage over the wall. Will hit Selfmade just a little bit. And the thing about this is it's not always about killing the enemy. If you chunk someone out, it then takes them time to get back, and you have that extra time to try and play around the dragon. The issue with doing it on a Tahm Kench is he has the Abyssal Voyage, so he's able to get back into this fight just that little bit quicker. Torre, though, with a good hook on Nemesis, was going to get the play. Kadril with the undertone. Nemesis has the shockwave, and remember, there's no Ragnarok on Kadril. So if Nemesis went a little bit further, oh, Special, unleash power, flashes forward, Force of Will. Flash away from the Dark Sphere there by Nemesis, but the Dragon is available for XL. However, good stuff from Reckless and from Whippo and from Selfmade to put the Rift Herald down here in the mid lane, trying to open up the map a little bit more. Special and Kadril are behind enemy lines in the jungle near this red. The teleport coming in. Hillisang flashes forward. He's looking for that acquired taste. He's going to lick up Special, knock him back straight into the shockwave, and goodbye, Syndra. That is a great fight, great pick there for Fnatic. Kadril's going to get the Lantern out, and this should be Fnatic's Dragon.
What could have been a great opportunity for XL actually ends up in disaster, as Hillisang recognized it with the flash gone from Special. They can get a punish. Now Selfmade looking for Patrick. Doesn't have the Gragas ultimate though. Ooh, Reckless. Yeah, forces the flash out from Patrick. He was worried about the lethality damage that could come out from the Varus. Didn't have the spell shield up and we forced to disengage. This means Fnatic now feeling a little bit more comfortable in this situation. So this is after Special has used his flash to try and get that kill onto Orianna, which means the Hillisang can flash and he's like, hey, my team has priority in mid lane. We can get this collapse through the TP from Nemesis as well. And Nemesis ends up getting vengeance against the opposing mid laner. They end up getting that kill. Kendrill gets out to safety, but they lose so much control over the Drake. And it's these small mistakes that we're seeing from XL. We've been seeing them a couple of times over the weekend, and we see it once again here. Special can't find that kill. They're too deep in the enemy jungle, and Fnatic successfully punished them.
Do you want to give credit to Nemesis flashing over the Force of Will? Like, the scat of the week, right? He dodged it. Sorry, Hillisang, not Nemesis. Credit to Hillisang for dodging that. Some days he has more aggressive days, some days the aggression pays off, and today seems to be like one of those. Selfmade, though, flashing forward here, looking for the body slam. Torre's trying to dodge away from the explosive cast, but he doesn't realize it's on cooldown right now. If I'm Selfmade there, I'm just looking at him like, ah, you don't know. Oh, no.
I don't think, well, Selfmade even used his flash.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand why they would be pretty committed to believing.
Yep.
And ultimately, that ends up being worth for XL because, hey, Gragas doesn't have flash anymore.
It's true.
And meanwhile, Whippo will be securing that tower in the bot lane. I think he's done a great job in the side lane so far this game. The Vladimir, one item completed, working towards the next. Still a ways away from being a big threat that Fnatic need to be scared of. And it feels to me that Fnatic have after that Drake play, claimed a little bit more agency over the game. They're consistently pushing in mid, they're looking for these picks, and they're forcing XL to play more on the defensive. This Syndra, who was very dominant in the laning phase and has a big CS advantage. When I have a look at the gold, okay, there's still a pretty sizable difference between the two mid laners, I will acknowledge, but in terms of itemization, it's not that dramatic. You can see the bigger difference is really coming from the 280 carries, but again, because Patrick is playing more of the hyper carry style of AD, where you're going for the traditional crit build, and Reckless is going full of lethality, even though he's at a deficit, he's probably stronger than the Sivir is right now. You can see that he did just complete his Youmu's as well, so with 2 lethality items done, he's feeling very strong. You can see that Selfmade also completing the Morello. So I feel like Fnatic should feel very confident at this point in time to be willing to go for fights.
Here they go.
Oh, okay, no. They're just going to get back to lane to be able to clear this wave out. Yeah, I thought the same thing as you. They were looking for a flank.
Bit too eager there, Vedius. I apologize.
It's all good, it's all good. So right now, Fnatic's setting up around the Baron area. I don't expect them to force it, just getting some vision control, because there's nothing to play for on the bot side of the map. You know, this is the sort of state where you could think about freezing. I'm not an expert enough, especially in this specific situation, to say whether you could do it for sure, but this is the kind of situation where you can think about it.
I can see that, I can see that. I think,
we can have a look at Whippo. Let's have a look at Whippo. Let's see what he does in this situation. Is he going to look to freeze it here?
He's freezing Vedi! He pulled it. Oh, okay.
No.
He did try to freeze.
I don't think he did, because he shot the caster minion. So I don't know if his plan was to freeze there.
Maybe not.
You've always got to look for these things with Fnatic. We know they're big advocates of the freeze.
Yes, Popelas, as Trevor and Frost named him yesterday.
In any case, as you can see, the game is very... It's not very slow. It's slowed down compared to some of the action that we saw earlier on, with a lot of the outer towers now dropping, both mid lane towers getting very low. The Baron is becoming a point of contention. I imagine the next big fight will be around this Drake, or it could be in the bot lane.
Yeah, Christ is going to get body slammed. He has no vision around here. Pops the Sanguine Pool, but where are you going to go? You're flashing the wall? He's trying to get out with a phase rush. He turns it back around. The Hemo Plague has been popped as well, and Cries, he's ticking away, but he heals up. I don't know how you get out of this one. I'm pretty sure you just get chased down. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Angry Monkey Cries goes down in the end. Did waste some time. And Whippo will be able to push in that wave. Special's going to get a turret in the top lane for the time that was spent down towards that bottom lane. But Whippo has so much magic resist and is going for a Death's Dance just to top it off as well. So it's going to be very hard for Cries to play that 1v1. Patrick pops the ultimate here. Got to go fast as he speeds his way into the mid lane, and XL get their 3rd tower of the game. Goal pretty even, although it's a slight lead for Fnatic as they take that turret, about 1,000 or so.
So we can see that Whippo continuing to push down that bot side. Fnatic right now, even though the gold is only about 1k, very much in control of this game. XL should not be counted out by any means. We still look at their ability to scale as something very prominent, rather. And even though Gangplank has itemized heavy magic resistance, he's obviously not itemizing to deal with Patrick. So if a single Ricochet lands in a team fight, trust me, Whippo will melt.
Especially with the Infinity Edge now complete.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's something that Fnatic have to take into consideration. They want to think about trying to accelerate the state of the game right now so that this Sivir doesn't get to that very terrifying point. They're going to be looking to secure the 2nd Cloud Drake. I think this is great for Gangplank, especially. I think having his ultimate on available more often is extremely valuable. If you get it to 40%, like, that is really, really good, especially with an Orianna and a Varus, where their ultimates can be so impactful as well. So pretty helpful Drake for Fnatic for the time being. You can see that XL still holding control around the Baron for now. Both teams just posturing, looking back and forth. And to be fair, XL, there were some question marks coming into this game. How would they stack up against Fnatic? They're doing reasonably well for the time being, but we have seen a couple of those small mistakes which the experienced team in the form of Fnatic were very quick to punish. And it's something that you always have to be careful of, because if you're not always playing on your toes, a team like Fnatic is very quick to try and pick you apart in those small windows.
For example, there where Kadra was standing outside of the bush. Perhaps doesn't really matter. He wasn't going to kill Hildesang anyway, but having just those small mistakes can cost you a lot. And meanwhile, Selfmade, Reckless, and Whippo are going to try and push in this lane. They know that Cries is busy dealing with the top wave. So he pushes out. He's now going to work his way across towards mid. But we are getting to that point where Fnatic could look towards a Baron. They're at least clearing out the vision.
Pretty fast, I would say.
I would agree with you. I think a traditional AD carry would make it just that slightly bit faster, obviously, but
it's one of those things where I don't think it's slow.
yeah,
you know, like
it's
when you
not
have
like a 30-second Baron.
Yeah, because when you have like a Senna, you're like, okay, that's a slow Baron, right? But I think it's fine. But it's not like a Jinx Baron where you're just like, okay, it's dead. That's the sound effect Jinx makes.
Yeah, Jinx goes brrrr.
Yeah. In any case, very quickly moving away. That's the sound effect Sivir makes. Fush, fush.
Or ding dong, your pizza's here, depending on what skin you're using.
That's also fair. Yeah. All right, I respect it.
See? Fush, 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 fush. Okay, we'll go back to game.
I mean, to be fair, you were describing gameplay very specifically.
That is true.
I think you showcased everyone how much you listen to League of Legends. Anyway, Baron. Both teams just clearing out vision for the time being. Wait, can we have a quick look at Bwipo again? Do you know what he's doing?
Look, Vedius, it's been a warm day, and Bwipo has decided he wants an ice cold. Okay, he's down.
You were just like, do you think he's... Pff, never mind.
There's no better way to disagree with an argument than just shooting a minion in the face.
He's like, oh, I think he could be. No.
He is slow pushing, though.
Yeah, he's stacking a wave right now. And the reason why you do that is because it forces Kryze to invest more time into the bot side. Notice that he's moving with the wave as well. He feels very confident because even if someone were to gank him, because Fnatic have 4 members on the top side, they could rush Baron. So the only downside to that is XL are running 3 teleports, so he does have to be careful, but it depends on who shows up. If Kadril shows up right now, then that gives a window for Fnatic to be like, ooh, Baron maybe? But no, of course, Bwipo's just going to disengage from that one.
I will say I like Kryze's itemization here. He knows he's going to be dealing with Bwipo most of the time, so he's gone Void Staff second, getting rid of some of that magic resist. Just
there's also a Banshees.
There's also, yeah, Banshees, like Edge of Night, Locket, although Edge of Night doesn't give magic resist. No, it's just
it used to,
shield.
And it's deceptive because it gives you the Banshee's Veil shield, but yeah, no magic resistance.
Locket of the Iron Solari. I'm just going to list all the things that give you magic.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So Mercury Treads.
I think we agree. Void Staff, good itemization choice here. Yeah, precisely. Oh, and he's got the...
Executioners.
Yep, that's the one. That's a lot of damage.
Patrick, though, is going to take some damage in response. Oh, that's actually really nicely done. Lantern, flash away into Patrick getting to safety. Patrick doesn't have to burn his flash, which is so important for a later team fight. I'll give him some credit there. That was well escaped by Patrick and by Torre, but they are going to have to sacrifice at least one turret in mid, probably a couple, as Fnatic are going to try and up the tempo of this game. We've gone from Adagio to Rapido. Can't remember my musical tempos that well, but I hope those were right. As Fnatic force the play down the mid lane. Now, Special is in a side lane. He's going to get some damage on that turret down towards the bottom lane.
I like the way in which Bwipo, he stacked that wave in bot to give him room to rotate around to mid, so the Fnatic were actually a 5-man when XL went for that pick, giving them a pretty significant numbers advantage and knowing that Kryze and Special would be forced to invest their TP if they wanted to try and contest. This gave Fnatic 2 very quick towers, which then gave them the opportunity to gain a lot more control over the map. But now XL are starting off this Baron. They forced it. The Nemesis is in the brush above them.
They don't know he's there. Look at it, he's already got the ball onto Patrick, and now the shockwave on Patrick flashes away from it, and they're going to try and turn onto Nemesis, but the flank comes in from Reckless. In the pit is self-made. Patrick, there's no way you survive this. Reckless takes him out. Now it's Kryze and Torre versus the world, but Torre is down. A triple for Reckless, the Baron for Fnatic, and XL have made one of their classic mid-game blunders.
I think that was just a very easy punish for Fnatic. The waves were not set up to allow XL to rush that one down. Fnatic also had multiple teleports at their disposal, the Gangplank ultimate as well, the Abyssal Void. It was so easy for Fnatic to be able to rotate, but XL were concerned. They felt like the game was getting away from them, and they wanted to try and take that gamble. It doesn't pay off. Kill score now 8-2 in favor of Fnatic, and they're in full control of this game. Not looking to end it right now, but they're dead set on their way.
They really are. Such a powerful position for Fnatic to be in. Baron's going to be up for another 2.5 minutes or so. They've already taken down the mid inhib. Bwipo is an unstoppable split-pushing monster. No one can really deal with him in the 1v1. And we'll have another look at this. Reckless
So
on his way. The Abyss, oh yes, the home guards, isn't it? Abyss of Voyage comes in as well, but Nemesis.
It's his positioning, really.
So good.
Yeah, because he's coming in from behind, and XL think that they can jump on top of him and rush him down, but there you see the value of the Banshee's Veil, the investment in this magic resistance, mitigating so much of the Syntron damage. Bwipo then comes in to help with the cleanup as well, and with the Sivir dead, a lot of the damage then disappears as Kryze is just forced to retreat. And again, I feel like Fnatic did a great job of utilizing Bwipo on a side lane. He was that strong point, getting those core optimizations, and now they're looking for Patrick. He gets one shot by Selfmade, as Selfmade dances on his body. Fnatic now looking to end the game.
So I believe the Cannon Barrage will proc the Spell Shield.
Yeah.
So if you pop it, and then he pops Spell Shield, it's like, oh no, okay, sorry, that's going to be popped before I come in with a Body Slam. So that's really good coordination from Fnatic, and now they are coordinating a push down the middle lane. XL, you held on for a long time, but it feels like death knells for you right now. Hook's going to land, but the Shockwave comes down. Torre goes out of here. And a double kill, a triple kill for Reckless. Give him the quadro. Cry's gonna flash away and try and stop it from happening. But this is why you don't give Barris to Reckless. He is 6-0-3, dominating this game, and Fnatic will top the table undefeated with Rogue.